cauliflower along the outside. As they're still in Kwame, it's the tight plant. There's gonna be a lot of vegetable fornication going on.
Yeah.
We're running up all against They were like, what's going on? Yeah, basil. Let him try the basil. This is cardinal basil. And then there's this one here, which is red Reuben. But they normally mix with the tripe. But this is normally the mix of mozzarella and tomatoes, and you see the flavor profile.
It's good.
And then this is lime. Nick, I want to eat you. Right? Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Ass.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh man, you can almost make a tea out of that one.
Oh yeah, definitely make a tea out of that. You getting this thing over here? It's called Lufar, or they call it African basil. So I do a lot of stuff. I put a mice in here. I put a lot of purple. Because those are original color crops, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So they have it at their place. So this one is a really
Matt, throw a little mic on you. It's like this shit.
look. So yeah, so I got a lot of purple stuff, and to me, because purple is the highest end spectrum of the plant. Even when you look at the chakras and stuff like that, it's the crown of it. And a lot of people will tell you, like, when you go to Africa, a lot of the foods that you get there are purple or darker in color. So I believe that's naturally that you get more phytonutrients and so on from the purple thing. Then as you go down through the spectrum of color, it starts to change. It doesn't become lesser or more, but it just changes in terms of what you're getting from the composition of the plant.
Yeah.
And so on. Now, it's not studied, but it's something that eventually would like to be studied in terms of how color affects the nutrient intake that we have when we're eating plants and stuff like that.
Because I know certain antioxidants are associated with different color vegetables, so that makes sense.
And then the yellows are like carrots and persimmons, and all of those have, and the papayas have different effects on different parts of your body, like your eyesights and different things. So all the colors matter, even when they look in terms of the chakra, and if you look at how to compare the chakra with spirituality and so on, and or the body with spirituality and what we're eating. If you connect it with the colors and with chakra, I know a lot of people look at it as, oh, fody balody, but it's technically, it's been dumbed down to be so. But if you look at the internalness of this human existence and what we are, and you're studying the human being, right? All of that stuff matters, right? Because it all compiles upon itself. One part is about the mental, spiritual aspect. The other is taking that mental, spiritual aspect and bringing it to the physical nutrients that you're pulling from the soil to put into your body.
Yeah.
So people may say it's phony baloney and whatever, but metaphysically, it all connects and makes sense. And that's all we're looking for, connections, right? Logical connections that lay over each other and then bridge those spiritual gaps too that we have to think, be it through the fourth and third dimensions and so on like that. They all have a level of oneness to it.
Yeah.
And we have to find our relationship with that and with food, and then in how we connect with ourselves as well, you know? So I'm going to try not to curse, but like when I was in school, I was pre-med, and then I transferred over to sociology, and I was just talking to my partner about it. I'm like, I'm always trying to figure out, and I always have a sociological outlook of things.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to figure out, like, how do people think, and why do they think this way, and how does that connect with how they look at themselves, and are they trying to figure out who they are and where they're coming from, or is it just a me thing, and I'm just obsessive about it, and so on like that. So to me, all of that, I try to bring all of that energy relating to public health and to that spirituality of connecting ourselves and having this oneness with the food, because the food has no discrimination. It doesn't think, it just looks to provide you with the same chemicals that your body needs to become healthy and strong. So, you know? Yeah. And, you know, the taste and the color, I do the taste and the color, and I try to show folks the taste and the color, because sometimes with food, especially for finicky eater like myself, and with children especially, sometimes you have to rope them in with the different things about food that they don't like. So taste is one of it, yes, but also color, how it looks, smell,
texture.
You know, exactly. All of the different 5 senses that we're activating, you know, so we have to look at activating those. And once they see like, oh, wow, the colors and so on, and they start seeing colors flow in, and then they're like, okay, I maybe want to try that. You know, I've never seen that before, and then that opens up the mind to different things.
Yeah, it does. It does. I love how you have everything set up. So I'm curious, like, did you intentionally plant like some of the larger non-edible plants or like the non-vegetable plants to create these microclimates for the vegetables, or did you kind of inherit the property that way?
Well, no,
just plant around
the whole thing was empty. This was a empty lot, a city lot, and it was filled with garbage and stuff like that. So I tell folks, even like as we talk, I just came off a project. I was working on an organic regenerative farm, and they're talking about being organic regenerative, but yet their soil is filled with rock, and that rock then doesn't allow you to manipulate the quality of your soil. Here we've done, besides farming, we've pulled out the rock, and that's the process that makes your farm regenerative. Even if you don't have that national label or that U.S. government certified label on it, it's regenerative based on how you farm, right? Your practices, right? So we know that we don't want any rocks in our soil where we're farming, because we know that the rocks are very alkaline and they're going to alkaline our soil, and we need to be able to balance out our pH for our plants.
Yep.
That's how you provide, just like us, it's how your plants are able to fight diseases and resist bugs and stuff, because they're the optimal pH and they're functioning healthy.
Yep.
Cancers and bugs can't bite them, or when they bite them, you're like, oh, no, it's nasty. So just like us, we have to work these things together with the plants, and you could do that through the manipulation of your soil and the nutrients you put in your soil and so on. So we have a lot of permaculture techniques. I learned from people from Cuba and from people way smarter than myself in soil management. And I just adapt a lot of different soil management techniques that I have, either from the Caribbean, from where I'm from, in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and just different farmers. I go to Jamaica. If I go on vacation, I'm always on a farm, trying to figure out what are you doing to make your stuff grow in these harsh climates.
Yeah.
And here in Florida, we can manage our climates, so it's not as harsh as other places.
Yeah.
You know, so like our partner in Africa, 90% arid. So they're always thinking, how to get water, how to get water.
Yep.
You know, we have different problems to solve. And when I could identify with those problems and then try to fix them here and see how what we're doing here applies to what they can do there, then it marries together to create a larger global system of responsible farming.
Yeah.
And that's what we've moved away from, is this idea of responsible farming. It's become a commodified thing where it's like, okay, money, 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 but the world, everybody in the world eats, so there's no need to commodify food, right? People gotta eat, so you're always gonna sell your food, regardless of what it is that if you overgrow it and then you hoard it, then you're gonna have these gluts and these things. Now you can then manage it, and then now people aren't really paying to eat, they're paying for now a status symbol then, right? And food shouldn't be a status symbol. It should be something that you naturally have, and then through the nutrition of the food, then you as a person become a better person that then creates whatever skill you have that lends itself to society. Now your status symbol comes based on your works, not on your, what you could afford.
Yeah.
You know? So we have it very twisted sometimes in our society, where we're always just looking at things through this greedy lens of money. And money is there to be made, because we have enough people.
Yeah.
But what is it that you're bringing to those people that allows them to value their life and develop a long life, so you can make long-term partnerships with your customers and your people, you know what I mean? You want long-term relationships with people who are eating food. You don't want them to eat good now and then don't eat later. You want them to have that. You want them to pass that on to their children and their children and children. And now you have a truly proper food system that is based on feeding people versus based on making money. And the money's there to be made anyway.
Yep.
So it's like you don't have to really make it the focal point. So
yeah. Well, I like one thing that you mentioned is multiple times when you're talking about these different topics within the context of growing food is relationships.
Yes.
Especially part of that regenerative agriculture, I feel like a big part of it is restoring healthy relationships.
Yes.
Like you talked about, relationship to the soil, a relationship to plants, a relationship to ourselves, our relationship to different aspects of the world. So that's
our relationship to it, right? Because like our cultures are some of the first to bring agriculture to the world and to spread it out and so on.
Yeah.
Yet through the different paradigms and narratives that have been created, now we don't want to farm, right?
Yep.
But yet farming is feeding the world, it's feeding global economy, it's pushing global economies. But we as a people here in the States especially don't want to farm. I mean, they're farming in Africa and they're seeing the benefits of it. They're farming in the Caribbean and now starting to hold it to themselves and seeing the benefits of inter-Caribbean trade and so on, and going to secondary, what used to be the primary markets, going to them as secondary markets. So we have to start creating a narrative for ourselves,
Powerful, yeah.
And really using this as an engine to drive our economies rather than depending on these old colonial powers to tell us how to drive our economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but it's a lifelong lesson that that's constantly coming and that we always have to develop and grow, and learn from each other. So,
Yep.
and we have ancestors and current elders who have a wealth of knowledge. That's one of the things why I'm doing this with your brother is to figure out how to accumulate this knowledge that my brother Kwame has, and he could talk to you on a whole nother set of stuff over there. Smart brother, went to Ohio State University. But a smart brother, as a football fan, I don't like him, but as a as a brethren, he's one of my best knowledge bases and so on. And there's a lot of elders like that who want to see these things happen, things that they've been fighting for all their life, and we want to encourage that. So these avenues are the kind of things to show what they're trying to do and what they're looking to do, rather than trying and hopefully get the message out to our younger folks and younger folks in the Afro diaspora that these things are here and we want you to be included in it. We don't want it to be something that the larger society uses as a tool to push their narrative, right?
Yeah.
Use it to create your narrative for yourself and improve your communities that way,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you, what are some of the main ways you all engage the community and kind of like help restore that relationship between people and their food and the planet?
Well, all the people here are community members. Kwame, Ms. Robinson, everybody that comes are community members, even the students. And we have a community advisory board that guides us each year on what they think we should do within the community. They send us grants. Hey, you should apply for this for doing this and so on. Or we have one of the things that they asked me right after COVID was that to really focus on the boys. They're like, we're losing our boys. A lot of the women came and told me that, hey, we're losing our boys. We made them into feminine versions of ourselves, which I was finally glad a group of women came and told me that because they admitted it. And I was like, they're like, do your stuff, your gardening stuff, but give them a foundation. They're like, because I do a whole lot of stuff, like financial this and this and this.
Yep.
They're like, but give them a foundation in farming. And then all of that other stuff you want to do, you could do that after, but it's an ask. So I create the ask, the stuff based on the ask. So like when the commissioner gave us this land for the next 7 years, she said to keep it as a community resource. So one of the things we did, we're waiting to get electricity, but we're supposed to be putting on aquaculture in that tent.
Okay.
And we're working on doing that and then teaching young people about this industry. That's $1 billion industry. Everybody know about the weed industry and all of that, but this fish thing is $1 billion industry that our field folks need to be able to tap into because we eat more fish than any other cultural diaspora in the United States. We eat it 3 to 4 times a week. On average, yeah. Compared to meat eaters, yeah, we are very big on fish in our community, and the demographics show that. So we have to create these avenues of things and then start using them as ways of building up economy in our community and working together collaboratively, and so forth. Whichever way, it cannot be based on price. And that's one of the things I'm always struggling with here. Like I was just telling Brother Kwame, like, I may not go back to some of these farmers markets because it's just everybody competing to do the same thing, and so the farmers aren't really talking. They're just pricing each other up, and then there's no savings going on to the customer. So one of the things I did 2 weeks ago was I started reducing my prices considerably, and I told Mr. Robinson, I'm not competing with them. I'm like, we're going to sell it at what we feel we can owe and we can make from it, and that will compare our people, allow us to survive and prosper here, right? It doesn't have to be where we're overcharging the customer. And that's what you see happening is that farmers too, in their, they were normally very benevolent farmers, right? They'll give you food because they got it.
Yeah.
They know they grew. But now it's become, they too have bought into the greed aspect of it because they see what happens. They see that folks in the city of Miami, for instance, go down to Homestead and they buy stuff at wholesale price, $2 a piece, and then come up here and sell it to the customer for $4 or $5.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I do that?
That's not right.
And you making millions now off of my hard-earned labor. And that's what happens. People make millions off of farmers' hard-earned labor. So now the farmers are fighting back by raising their prices. So now you go down to Homestead, you're buying stuff at your retail price. So now you have to buy it here, and people come up here, and they may get discounts on bulk pricing, but the prices are still higher compared to what it would have been if this farmers market idea didn't start competing with farmers on prices, right? And now the farmers market has to raise their price because their price is higher from the I have eighths on my cucumbers. Their price is higher than the wholesale. Their prices needs to be higher for them to make a profit because the farmer has raised his prices.
Yeah,
so it's a compounding effect.
It's creating a dysfunctional relationship.
Exactly.
Before it should have created a situation where everybody wins, and instead it's an unhealthy type of competition.
Exactly. Yeah. So now the farmer's competing with the farmer's market manager, and then the person getting screwed is the customer at the end. So I was selling stuff, and I was like, $16? I won't pay 60. So I'm like, I can't sell stuff to people that I won't buy myself.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to reduce my prices. And people look at it and I'm like, yeah, why are you selling it so cheap? So you can afford it. Because at the end of the day, it's not for me to go home with this shit after I harvest it. It's for me to sell it, and all of it is gone, regardless of what the money is, for it to be gone. I'm not supposed to bring it home and bring it back and store it and do it. No. Here it is. I harvested this day. For you to buy it this day, here's the price. Buy it. And then after that, end of the day. Anyway, I was looking because I have aphids on the cucumbers, and I saw ladybugs attacking.
Oh,
so I was
nice.
gonna spray them. I was just talking to Brother Kwame about spraying, but I found that 2 ladybugs would wipe out this whole set of aphids if I leave them be.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna allow them to do their work. And so it's probably a 2 partner ladybugs. So I'm gonna allow them to do their work and not spray right now, and see what happens tomorrow, and then I'll spray tomorrow. If the job is too overwhelming for them, I'll spray tomorrow. But for now, I'm allowed to let them do what they do.
Yeah, but your approach is kind of like an adaptive management. So when possible, you allow nature to kind of correct itself and take care of the problem.
Exactly.
And if not, then you intervene using the least toxic.
Exactly. I use always organic practices.
And
and then I'm from a healthcare background too. So then I'm also using practices that help to circumvent any kind of foodborne diseases, because working in the hospital, I've learned that the only non-immunocompromised population are kids. Kids from baby to maybe 10. And then after that, everybody's immunocompromised. So,
really?
Yeah, so you have to treat everybody, and you have to treat your food like you're giving it to somebody in the hospital, right? So it has to be optimal. So if something poops, if a bird comes, I'm always looking for these bugs and so on, and I'm looking for bird poop and animal different things that leave their mark on the food, because I can't sell that to you.
Yep.
Right? Because you're immunocompromised, no matter what it is. So we have to look at these ways of preventing foodborne diseases and adapt these ways to the way we're farming as well, and always integrate it. There's a lot of my friends from school are computer techs, and they use this thing called Agile back in the day. And it was always about adapting on the run. Before, when they started talking to me about it, it was like, okay, yeah, we adapt every week. Then it was like, now we adapted every 24 hours. Now it's like we adapted on the second. So I'm like, wow. They're like, yeah, you always got to be adapting. So for us, we're always changing stuff. And like, for instance, this year, I planted this because we plant these micros, these mini greens, these Asian greens, and then we harvest them about 3 times. And they're a big seller, right? Wholesale, they sell about $8, and that's what I'm selling it for in the market. Farmers markets will buy it from us at $8 a pound, and they'd sell it at $12, $14 a pound, right? And especially if it's organic, the prices is higher. So for us, but we were harvesting it and cutting it, and then some stuff just didn't do too well. And I think it's because of sun and shade. So a lot of what we do here too, while it's to grow food optimally, we used to call it spin farming, small pot intensive. Now they call it bio-intensive farming, and so on. So for us, so for instance, this one area here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 rows of Mizuna, right? So 12 2-foot rows of Mizuna. And for us, that's a bio-intensive way of farming. And this is arugula, this is another thing. But we saw that some of the things that we started growing weren't doing well in the shade, in the sun. And they probably like shade and so on. So we have to change around how we play. And now I'm going to eliminate this whole area, because while the green ones are doing good, right? That's koji over there, which is the Asian green. That's Mizuna. This is arugula. They're doing good. And this even Mizuna doing good. This middle part wasn't. So I'm going to pull everything and plant lettuce. And we had lettuces that we had in the ground in the greenhouse in trays, and none of them took for some reason. With farming, it's always something. I've been doing the same thing every year, and there's always something in the process that I didn't take into consideration, or something just had to go wrong this year. And for us, it was a lot of our seeding of trays. They just had bad outcomes in terms of germination rates. So I'm switching now to germinating a lot of stuff in the ground. So yeah, I'm going to turn this soil in, turn all of this stuff into the soil as like a green manure, add more soil, pull out these cucumbers that's not doing good, and start over with maybe some of these that's doing good right now. And then plant lettuce. Dorado. We have about 5 varieties of lettuce. I need to get some lettuce down. It's nice.
How far in advance do you kind of like plan the layout and what you're going to actually grow?
Well, I don't plan the layout here because it's so unstructured. Like the beds are truly organically made beds, right? So it's like I don't have them in a blueprint and say, this is what I'm going to do in this. I know what I've planted.
Yep.
So what I try not to do is try not to rotate the same thing in. So last year, this didn't have any tomatoes in it, any trellises in it, and it had collard greens and brassicas, like broccolis and stuff like
Mustards,
that. So then I switch it up so that way we're not planting the same thing in the soil all the time.
Okay.
Which is one of the organic practices you do. You're supposed to rotate your stuff around I think every 2 years. So we do that here as well. And then what I do have is I have a planting list that I create in the summer. And I create a planting plan on what seeds I want to plant, when they're going to germinate based on the temperature and stuff like that, because everything can. So we start putting on seeds. I started putting on seeds September 21st. And that's because normally I put them down in October and I fall late. But this year I tried to get early. And we got a lot of stuff in early. A lot of stuff, as I said, we had a lot of issues. And maybe because I never put down stuff so early before, so I made some mistakes. So I never know. But we're learning.
Yeah.
And so normally that planting plan is created in the summer. I order all the seeds by early September, late August, early September, and start just germinating based on, so it's an intricate planting plan. In it, it's on a spreadsheet, and in it is like your germination rates, how fast it takes to germinate in the greenhouse, then how long you have to keep it in the greenhouse before. Right now we've been stepping stuff up, so how long that takes, and then how long it takes to actually go to harvest from once you plant it in the ground. So all of these things are things that are taken into consideration, and that's how I know what's ready for my markets, for sales, for be it CSAs, which is community supported agriculture. There's a lot of different things that most farmers take for granted, but then once you start putting it on a computer, it becomes a mass.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there's so much planning. It's like there's so much logistics that go into getting the food from a concept in your head, like, okay, I want to grow this, to actually getting it in the farm growing, and then actually to the store for them to buy. So it's important that you illustrate that.
A big question, we talked about soil, regenerative soil, right?
Yep.
So I know I want to grow tomatoes. I don't know where, but knowing that I wanted to grow tomatoes, I have to in my summer, because it takes, not even in the summer, honestly, by the end of May, June, July, August, September, October, November, right, which is when I'll probably put down my tomato seeds in the ground in November, so that's when it gets cold enough. I'll probably put them down in late October. So sometime around April through May, I have to know what bed I want to plant my tomatoes in next year. I have to test my soil for the pH, because tomatoes like acidic soil. So I have to make sure the soil is below between like 6.5 to like 6.9. It could even go down to 5.5 to 6.5.
Oh, wow.
It's because they love acidic soil based on the tomatoes, and you feel it in the taste of the tomatoes. Tomatoes are very acidic fruit, so you could taste it in the tomato. So I have to, and then for me to cure that soil, if I have to cure it and bring down the pH, it takes 6 months for me to add an organic treatment like sulfur or something like that to bring down the pH in that soil. For it to actually time release in the soil, it takes 6 months.
Wow.
So that planning is long term. So you have to know that, okay, I'm going to plant tomatoes this way, this way, this way, and then you have to then start planting your soil appropriately.
Yeah.
Then you have to look at your water, how you're going to water, what nutrients are you adding, what fertilizer are you adding, when do you add those fertilizers, you know, and so forth. So it's all different kinds of things. We have a lot of mixes. So we have that bucket right there, full of all of banana scraps and stuff like that. It's a potassium tea, right? And then you have the farmer, he burns wood to keep those hashes. That's our potash or phosphorus. And then we have the nitrogen, which comes from our lagoons and stuff like that. So pigeon peas and different stuff like that adds our nitrogen to our soil. So we have a lot of organic ways we could add these things. And then we also use organic fertilizers. And not a lot. We use one organic fertilizer, which is called Sustain. And we treat that with our beds initially, and then we add our regular stuff as we want, and as they grow. And then we have also, we use organic fertilizers. So like for this one, it's me. So like for this one here, I'm using a combination of agricultural soap, which helps it to stick. It's an organic agricultural soap, and it helps whatever you spray on the plant to stick to it, right? So it may water, it may rain, whatever, it helps it to stick. And then I use neem for stuff like fly, like white flies and any kind of biting insects normally.
Yeah.
And then I use a thing called BT, which is a naturally occurring bacteria.
Yep.
And I use that for like the worms and other heavy biting insects that like millipedes and stuff like that. But mostly worms and caterpillars and stuff. And then you have to look out primarily for like fungi on your leaves. So like certain leaves get fungi. Like this is a fungus. All of this, these white spots, you know what I mean? So I can spray for that. But what I normally do, I'd normally cut those leaves off and just get rid of them, you know? And part of that could be that something was trying to eat it. So we have some aphids in there that are coming. So something is trying to eat it, and maybe then that's what makes the plant weak, and now it's susceptible to a fungus and different kinds of stuff like that too. So it's always about IPM, which is called integrated pest management. So you see the beginnings of aphids, right? So that, and then you see all these white spots. That's the fungus setting in, right? There's more white spots here from leaf miners and stuff like that. So once the plant, and then the ants are pulling sugar. So once the plant starts getting compromised because of what, and you see the white spots up here. So you see the fungus coming in. So I have to treat it with a fungicide. We have cease and we have some other naturally occurring fungicides that we use. But this is part of the biggest thing that a farmer does. A truly responsible farmer is to look out, because being that his crop is his commodity, he has to always be looking out for his plant. So weed, I know the knife. Everybody else thinks I'm going to stab you. So like weeding. So but I was like, you're going to stab me with that knife. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, I'll probably stab myself first before I stab you. But weeding, right? Because weeding is what takes away the environment that the pest loves to live in, right? And then also trimming up and doing pest, looking at them and doing all of these little pest management things are the main thing. We don't do nothing else. What else do I do here? Okay, because I don't have an irrigation system, we water, right? We obviously planted them, but after that, it's weeding and this, IPM, and making sure that they live to do this. I'm not sitting here like, come on, man, grow. Go ahead, grow. Come on,
Micromanaging.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. It's growing on its own. It's getting the sun. I'm making sure that it's in the right sunlight, so I'll be trimming back the banana leaves, making sure that it gets this, so that's my job, and its job is to grow based on the environment that I gave it to grow. So my job is to give it the optimal environment to do its best job at growing and producing the most nutritious food for us to eat.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
You should interview Brother Kwame, because I could talk forever. Brother Kwame! Kwame! Hey, Miss Robinson. Where's Kwame? There he is.
Amazing. It's amazing to learn from an expert firsthand.
Right there on set.
I'm passing the mice. A run. Yeah. So drip it on. And do your thing on defense.
Well, between you and Miss Robinson, ain't nothing I could say.
That's not true.
It is true.
Talk about that specific topic. You have yours to add.
Yeah, I'll set it up for you. Is this put in it like this right here on your shirt?
I'm not going to do it.
You don't want to do it?
No, I ain't got nothing to say.
Oh,
Them two are here all day, every day.
Okay.
I come in occasionally and help out. I just happened to be here when you gentlemen came today.
Okay, so are you involved with the selection of kind of like the non-vegetable plants, any of the flowers,
Listen.
any of the medicinal plants?
Listen.
I'm listening.
That gentleman and that lady run this. I come in to occasionally help out.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I know what I do. I know what they do. You know what I'm saying? If I had something to add, I would gladly add that.
So you can't talk about anything, just like your favorite aspect of being here, favorite plants?
Have no favorite plant.
No favorite.
My favorite aspect is that it's nice and serene.
So
Almost like being in a park.
I can say that, yep.
You know, I'm in charge y'all to put me in this video. You know that.
You got to talk to him.
If you good, we good.
Yeah, we
We good. I'm cutting.